All right. So let's just say we had a Kenosha. Let's say we had a Ferguson. I mean, how would we be a part of that?
That I don't know, because we would not be investigating that. If there was a officer involved shooting, that goes to an outside agency.
Aaron?
We can. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Commander.
If I could jump in a little bit here, Commander Glew. I've done some officer-involved deaths, not to the magnitude of Ferguson or Kenosha, but I have been involved in several officer-involved death investigations for jurisdictions outside of Evanston. And if we did have an incident like that, if there was involvement by this committee, it would likely be could be quantified in months down the road. What typically happens in these situations where there is a officer involved death, a lot of times that is a shooting. It is investigated by the State Police Integrity Unit. I will say this: they have come a long way in their service to the departments that they're investigating. The demand for transparency and speed has made them more efficient, but it still takes quite a while. Then that case will go to the state's attorney special prosecution, who then will review it, and they'll make a determination on charges. And then any review by a board in Evanston, if that were to take place, would come on the back of that.
If I can jump in, Rick, and help answer that a little bit, in addition to Commander Glew and Sergeant Wernick, if it's a civil rights violation, also if it's a civil rights violation and what we call color of law, so it's a federal violation, the FBI will also jump in and get involved. Then you're talking about years. But our commission, the only way we would get involved in an officer involved shooting or something to the magnitude, even if there's no death, if there's just a violent incident involving an officer and a citizen, the citizen still has to make a complaint. So I know that we had the citizen network on here earlier, but the bottom line is if the citizens have to make a complaint. So there could be things happening in Evanston, but if no one makes a complaint against the officer, then there's nothing that this commission has any input on. But if it rises to a level of something like Commander Glew just talked about, an officer involved shooting, or a civil rights violation involving an officer, that's going to involve much larger agencies like the ISP, the FBI, and we won't really see it at all. We won't really have any input, again, unless a citizen makes a complaint against a specific police officer or officers. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah. So yeah, this committee is just a citizen police review, so it is of citizen complaints.
All right. I just want to understand the lay of the land. Who are we?
Mm-hmm. And just so you know too, there's a lot of internal stuff that happens that we end up finding fault in our officers, or we see something and we write them up, or one of their supervisors writes them up, and it ends up they get disciplined internally, and that doesn't go to you guys because that's an internal complaint. It wasn't citizen based. So if I get quite a few of those.
Commander Glew, can you speak to, though, there are instances where chief could push for a citizen complaint even if the citizen doesn't file the affidavit, depending on the occasion?
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding that, like I said, anything that comes with a DI or a CR that's initiated by a complainant, even if it isn't followed through, that would be, the chief could come forward and say, we still want this, we want this to review as long as it falls under the ordinance. I think that some of the concerns that were brought forward, the more complicated issues like officer involved deaths and shootings, we kind of covered that. The very lengthy process, reviewed very much so. But the chief can push for things to be reviewed. It just has to fall within the ordinance and so on and so forth. But we're a very transparent organization, and anytime that we're allowed to share and seek, I would say, for lack of a better term, buy-in or consensus or also transparency with what we're doing, we're going to seek that out. With what we could do within our policy and the law and what's allowed. Going back to concerns about process and how efficient they are, the one thing I will touch on there is Aaron and I have been in discussions for 2021 to make things as quick as we can. Now, our efforts might shave a couple weeks off the process, but it is on our radar to make the process as efficient as possible, so things are coming to you as timely as they can. And also understanding that your concerns about if there's a case that's coming through with a certain amount of complexity, we will keep our eyes open for those instances and make you aware of them when we can, so you can be prepared. Does that help, Kimberly?
That's very helpful. Thank you, Commander.
Thank you.
The question is, does it help me? And
It's
I
not
don't
going to
know.
help you, Rick. Because you know what? Until you see enough, I think until you see more of these cases coming through, well, you have a better understanding.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Legit questions. Okay. I'm good.